Hi everyone, this is Peter Cole and welcome to my studio. In this video I'm going to be showing you how I built my own acoustic panels. You can see them hanging on the walls here. I built them from scratch with materials I bought at Lowe's and Home Depot and Joann's Fabrics. The total cost of all the materials was around $100, maybe $125, and that gave me enough material to build 5 panels. And I still have material to build a couple more. So relatively inexpensive, which is why I decided to build them myself. In the description of this video, I will have links to other posts and videos where I go into more detail around room acoustics and why I chose the materials I chose and why I placed the panels in the positions that they're in inside my studio. But in this video, it's just going to be focused purely on how I built the panels. So I'm going to start off by going over the materials I used and then diving into how I actually constructed each panel. So let's get started. So listed here on the screen are the materials that I ended up going with. For the wood, I went with 16 by 48 dimension, and that's used to make the frame of the panel. Some people make theirs a little bit wider, so some people might make theirs 24 by 48, and you can definitely do that. I went with the slightly narrower dimension just because it was going to work better for my space. For the insulation, which is the material that goes inside, and that's what's used to absorb the frequencies, that's the most important part of this. I went with the Rockwool Safe and Sound, which I got at Lowe's for $50, and that came in a package that had 12 pieces, so I could theoretically make 12 panels using the Safe and Sound that I got at Lowe's. Now the material that's used to wrap around the insulation, I chose Burlap, and I got that at like Joann's Fabrics for about 20 bucks, and that was enough to cover the entire project. One thing that I really want to call out here is that the material you choose to use to wrap around the insulation needs to be a breathable fabric. In other words, you want the sound to go through the fabric and get absorbed by the insulation. That's kind of the whole point of the acoustic panel. If you choose a fabric that is reflective, the sound is going to hit that material. It's not going to go through and get absorbed by the insulation, and it's just going to bounce back off into the room, and that's actually making things worse. So be sure to get a breathable fabric. You want to be able to put your mouth up to it and blow through it and feel the air on the other side. I liked Burlap. It was cheap and looks great. I also got some corner braces. I had some lying around the house that were left over from another project, and then I bought some at Lowe's for a few bucks. Super inexpensive, and these are used to make the frame even more sturdy, and you'll see that when we get into the nitty-gritty of the video later. I also got a mirror hanging kit for a couple bucks for each panel, and this is what is used to actually mount the panel on the wall, and again you'll see that later on in the video. And then I had a staple gun, tape measure, screws, screwdriver, saw, and also it's always handy to have a pencil for marking your measurements. So let's take a look at a finished panel. This one is sitting in my garage and will be mounted on my studio wall later on in the video. But just to give you an idea of what we're going to be making, one thing that I did different than other folks who make these types of panels is I had the frame, the wood, showing on the outside. I just like the look of it. All right, well, enough talk. Let's get to work. Step 1, we're going to build the frame. I'm going to screw the long side, the 48-inch piece, into the shorter piece, the 16th. Okay, now I'm going to screw in the angle brackets in each corner to kind of tie everything together. All right, now you can see I got all 4 corners screwed in with angle brackets. Okay, now that I've got the frame done, I've cut my burlap twice as wide. So you can see this side is going to flip over on top of the insulation once I place that in. But for right now, I've got it just on the inside there, and in a moment, while it looks kind of sloppy now, I will clean that up and I'll staple it to the inside. All right, I finished the stapling of the inside. And again, remember I went along the top and the bottom of the frame. So I put a staple at the bottom here, staple at the top because I want it really snug and tight, and I want to keep this line here as straight as possible so that when I flip it around, and after I put in the insulation, everything stays really tight and square. So now I place the insulation inside the frame. You can see it fits perfectly because the size is cut for the insulation, 16 inches by 48. Reminder to always use gloves when you are handling insulation. So I placed it in, I packed it nice and tight in the corners. And the last step here is now to take the other overlapping burlap fabric, and I'm going to turn it over like this. You can kind of see already what it's going to look like because the frame is already stapled on this side. This is actually the back of the panel, so it's going to look even better on the front. So I'm going to staple it here like so, and then when I flip it over, it's going to be a complete panel just like that one there. All right, so now here's the finished back side of my panel. I pulled all the burlap over and stapled it. It doesn't look so great on the back, as you can see, and I took some scissors and I'm trying to clean that up a bit, but you won't see that once it's hanging on the wall. This is just the back side. All right, it's the final step. The panel is ready to go. We just need to add the mounting equipment. I've been thinking about different ways to do this, and I'm going to try using just the same kind of mounting gear that you use to mount a painting. I have a lot of paintings in my house, so I have these lying around. So I'm going to try this first. You know, the idea is you're just going to attach this little guy here on this side and another one on the other side. Wrap wire around each so you have a wire attached to the frame. And then when that's all done, I'll place this on the wall and simply hang the panel just like I would hang a painting. So I'm going to attach this to the frame. I'm going to measure down 5 inches. I'm going to put a little mark there so that it's the same on both sides, right? I'll do the same thing to the other side, and then I'll screw that in, and then I'll attach the wire. All right. So the mounting gear is on. There was nothing really fancy about this at all. I just added these things to each side of the frame and then wrapped the mounting wire just like you do when you're hanging a painting, right? Just wrap it around this wire. You want to get as tight as possible, at least that's what I like, because when it's hanging on the wall, you don't want it to go too high above the frame because then you'll see the wire poke out. That is it for this frame, this panel. It is good to go. I'm not ready to mount it yet. That I will do in the next video. All right, well, we are all done with our acoustic panel. So in a future video, I'm going to show you how I mount these in my studio. And in that video, I will talk more about room acoustics and why I'm placing the panel in the position in the room for the most optimal room acoustics for my space. So you'll want to check back soon to see when that video is posted. In fact, even better, hit subscribe on this channel right now and I will notify you when that video has been posted. I won't be posting just videos on room acoustics and making acoustic panels either. I have a lot of videos planned for talking about home studio production, getting the best quality recordings you can, as well as going into detail about composing for film and TV, which I do. So that is going to be a lot of great stuff that you won't want to miss. Lastly, here is a list of the materials once again that I use to make my acoustic panels, in case you want to jot it down and head to the store right now. I hope you learned a lot from this video. I hope you're ready to go build your own acoustic panels and make a lot of music. Once again, this is Peter Cole, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.